Let's be honest here, rockets suck. That, ladies and gentlemen, was a joke. If you're still with me, let's have a conversation about rocket launchers. Now tell me if this story sounds familiar to you, because it should, because I believe it happens to everybody. As soon as you get into Twine Peaks or late game Canny Valley, your loadout probably looked something like this. Weapon, weapon, rocket launcher. You would always have a rocket launcher or some explosive weapon, usually the Dam Buster or the regular bazooka, in your current loadout. Sometimes the husks were just too much and you needed to keep them off the objective as they broke down your walls, or it was exploding death bursts that you weren't prepared for and your trap tunnels are gone and you have to keep them off your objective. How do you do that? Rocket launchers. Basically anyone in the game does it. Some are better than others, but all of them do the same thing, and that's kind of the issue with rocket launchers, but we'll get to that. But I have a follow-up question to that. Do you still have a rocket launcher constantly? Probably not. At least I know I don't. Even in 128 Frost Night, I wasn't carrying one. I think I used maybe 4 shots total, and that's the hardest content in the game. But today we're taking a look at the JabberWocky, the brand new rocket launcher in the game. And this review is going to be a little different since rocket launchers are basically the same and you use them minimally at best. I'm going to give you my thoughts and opinions on which rocket launcher you should be using. Now, granted, not everybody's going to have that, and that's something you have to keep in mind who is going to watch this video. One person might be endgame level 131 and want to know if they should spend their perk up. Or, on the other side of the coin, you could have somebody where this is the first rocket launcher / explosive weapon that they actually have access to. Just picking it up in the store, it's real easy to get, grind the gold, pick it up, and people want to know if it's worth it. Short answer, yes. Long answer, well, we'll get into that. It's been mathematically proven, and it's a very rare instance where crit chance and crit damage aren't the best rolls for a weapon, and this goes for the JabberWocky too. If you want this weapon to hit as hard as possible, crit chance, crit damage is definitely the way to go. Make it physical or energy because you only get one. You might as well use it in more scenarios than just the opposite effect element. However, there is another way you could possibly roll this, although I don't suggest it based on how the weapon plays. A lot of people like to put impact on rocket launchers, and that's mainly because to keep them off your objective like we were just talking about. However, the JabberWocky doesn't really work like that. Yes, it does a ton of damage, but you kind of have to get lucky, and we're going to talk about that in a second. But me personally, I would either do 1 crit chance, 2 crit damage, or throw a reload speed in there, or maybe a durability to get some more uses out of it, because it's still is going to hit like a truck no matter what you put on it. But what makes the JabberWocky special? Well, it does a couple of things different, but are those differences worth it? Well, yes, if you are a brand new player and this is the first rocket launcher that you have access to, pick it up. There's no reason not to. It's fine. It's just nothing super special about it, especially when we just got that brand new sword that is probably my new favorite weapon in the entire game. The JabberWocky just is dull in comparison. Now, what does it do special? Like I said, it shoots a cannonball-esque, bomb-esque projectile. Number 1, it's super slow. The projectile speed is super slow. Number 2, it has a huge, sharp drop-off of projectile arc. So it's not going to go where you aim, basically. You have to aim high every single time. Once you learn that and kind of get a feeling for it, it becomes a pretty useful weapon. Another thing, number 3 to mention, that the weapon does not blow up on impact of walls or any surrounding, obstacles. It only blows up on impact of enemies, which is a good thing and a bad thing. The reload speed is it's okay. It's not as fast as certain rocket launchers, but it's definitely not the slowest either. The other thing that this weapon does, which is the main selling point, is that once that bomb connects with an enemy, it splits into 3 smaller bombs. Now, you will notice that the JabberWocky has slow and snare as its 6th perk, which is perfect for something like this. The AOE spam on this rocket launcher is super useful and can slow everything down because it does proc on the smaller bombs as well. Another thing to mention is that the smaller bombs can crit, so doing crit chance, crit damage is definitely a good idea here. One more thing that I did notice, that sometimes the bombs glitch, and sometimes I would get 6 bombs instead of 3. But is that enough to make it like the best rocket launcher in the game? No, sadly it's not. There's a few reasons why these perks to this weapon end up being kind of disadvantages. What's the reason that a lot of people do not use rocket launchers anymore? And it's a simple one, and you guys are going to know exactly what I'm talking about. They blow up propanes, and that is the JabberWocky's biggest issue as it stands right now. You have zero control of where those little bombs go, and you might accidentally shoot one near a tunnel with a propane lying next to it and blow up the entire tunnel. I don't use rocket launchers really for this reason, and they're single shot rocket launchers. I can control the explosion. I know where they're going, and I still don't use them just in case. Now, that's not everybody's playstyle, but remember, this is just how I play. These are my opinions. That is the biggest gripe I have with this weapon, because the damage it does, as you can see right there, is a lot. 664,000 times 3 is a lot of damage, and in fact, it can one-shot level 100 smashers. Level 100 smashers have about 1 million health. So if you do the math, it does add up to a lot. But the second issue with the JabberWocky is the delay on the mini explosions. You're going to shoot it out, and unless you're face tanking enemies like I am doing in this video, but this video is just for exploratory purposes, you're not going to get the full amount of damage on the husks that you shoot at. The delay is a little bit too long. I would lower it by about 0.5 seconds, and eventually the husks will just walk out of the range. Now, the range is kind of weird. That's another thing to talk about. If you guys didn't know, range on a rocket launcher means the radius it explodes. So on the JabberWocky, it's 257, which means it's 0.25 tiles, basically. However, it's 0.25 tiles times 3 because you have the mini bombs and they have the same radius as the big one. But still, it doesn't make up for the fact that it just doesn't explode fast enough. You can see during this video examples all the time where I thought I was good. I thought everything was fine, and they would literally just walk out of it. However, the opposite happens sometimes as well. You throw it down and the actual husks walk into where the delayed mini bombs are sitting and blow up that way. Remember, it does do a lot of damage. There's nothing wrong with the damage that this gun does, this rocket launcher, but it is a little weird. So yes, if you happen to get all 4 explosions onto one enemy, it can do a lot of damage. It can clear packs of mobs with ease, and that's what it's good at. But another issue is that the smaller projectiles just don't go far enough, or their explosion radius is just a little too short, and it doesn't do all it can. It just comes up short in almost every aspect. The reload speed's a little bit longer than the best rocket launcher in the game. The impact on them, and this is a reason, by the way, not to run impact on it, is because you're not going to get the same effect as you would on a Santa's Little Helper, on a Dam Buster. It's not going to knock off husks off the objective. It's just not going to. It's not made for that. And on top of that, it's just harder to aim. You're always going to have to be aiming or fixing your aim or reloading, and it's just not that kind of weapon. That's why I do suggest going crit chance, crit damage, and use it as a small AOE destroyer, because that's what it does well. It does that really well. All you have to do is shoot it basically at your feet, and it kills everything around you. But those are the pros and cons of this brand new rocket launcher. Do I think it's the best in the game? Absolutely not. Do I prefer other rocket launchers over it? Absolutely. Specifically, the Bowler and the Santa's Little Helper. The Santa's Little Helper hits for 3.1 million. The gun is absolutely absurd, and I don't even understand why they put something so damaging in the game, except for maybe Frostnite 128. But those are my thoughts and opinion, guys. I hope they helped you out. I hope this was insightful. If you guys like this kind kind of stuff, make sure to stop by my stream, twitch.tv/roundedtiktak. We would absolutely love to have you. I'm having a special event coming up soon. We're really close to 10,000 subs on YouTube, so I'm super excited about that. Hopefully you guys can stop by the stream. If not, I completely understand. If you like what I do here, if you like this style of video, informative, you know, a little slower paced, make sure to hit that like button. Subscribe if you want to. That helps out a ton as well. I appreciate every single one of you guys. I'll see you on the next one. It's probably going to be a trap tunnel video or a special kind of video. You'll see. Stay tuned to find out more. I'll see you tomorrow. TikTak out.